Hello and welcome back. This is Katie calling with Calling Cosplay, back with another tutorial. For this one, I'm doing a cosplay, I'm gonna call it like a leg bag. A lot of characters have them. Like everybody in Naruto seems to have them. I also use this for one on the waist, just random box bag for cosplay. That's what I'm doing. And for this tutorial, I'm gonna have two options. One is a cloth, then I also have another one which I used duct tape to make. This is actually the same bag I used for my Riku cosplay from Final Fantasy X. It was in the Final Fantasy photo shoot vlog that I did. So for this, I'm going to start out with a cardboard base. This is what I used for all the bags I made. I'm going to take my cardboard and I'm going to trace out this pattern. So you're going to want one for the body, how tall and wide you want it to be, and then one for the side, that's how thick you want it to be, and then one for the top, which is going to fold over and clasp. So decide all three of those. I'm going to cut out the cardboard using my X-Acto knife. Please be careful as it is sharp. I am just kind of tearing into this box. I think you're not supposed to cut towards yourself, but I seem to not be considering that and just kind of going for it. You're going to want to cut out a front and a back, two of the sides, and one of the top. For the front and back, I just folded the bottom to make the bottom. We're going to duct tape this box together. This is going to be the frame for both the cloth bag or the duct tape bag. Your choice, but they both start here. I'm going to duct tape the bottom of the bag together first, and then the sides to the front and back, and then the top, and the top will just bend as it folds over the bag. Now I have the entire box structure made out of cardboard and duct tape. If you, instead of doing the sewing, are going to do the duct tape covered bag, just keep adding duct tape. Add a lot of it, outside, inside, everywhere, so it's completely covered in duct tape and it actually looks smooth. It's not that smooth up close, but you get the idea. Add a lot of duct tape. Now for if you want to do the cloth cover, then you're going to take that same pattern that you used to cut out the cardboard and you are going to cut it out in fabric. Make sure you leave yourself some seam allowance. I usually just add a finger or two on the edge. The back and the front are cut out on a fold. The other ones are not. It's only the back and front that you want to cut out on a fold. For the bags I made, I also used a lining, so the inside of the bag also had fabric in it. If you would like to do that as well, then cut out a second set. So you're going to have two sets because you're going to be sewing basically two bags. Before we sew this together, you're going to want some sort of straps on the back because it's going to have to adhere to your body in some way or fashion. So for my Tamari bags, I just used that same fabric, folded it, and I sewed it onto the back of the bag. You're going to want to do this before you actually sew the bag shape together. This has to be the first step. For this, I'm going to try using this cotton belting, and I don't really want to deal with making little strap shapes out of this fabric. With cotton belting, you can't burn the ends, and they do fray, but if you burn them, they will catch on fire. I've been there, they catch on fire. So for these, instead I use a clear nail polish. So I just go over all the frayed edges with nail polish and they don't fray as much. I also use this for all the belting on the side of my Riku cosplay, and that all stayed together wonderfully. So now we're going to sew that onto the back. I sew a box with an X on it using a zigzag shape to hold this down. So now we're going to actually sew the shape of the bag together. So you're going to sew the side of the bag to the back of the bag. Don't sew all the way down to the bottom as we are going to fold it over. Next, take your side and you're going to want to pin the bottom and the other side to now the front of your back. Front of your back, front of your bag, the front of your bag. And then of course you are going to do the other side as well. Same method. Just repeat that to the other side of the bag. And now that you have that done, you can flip it inside out. And you should have a bag that will fit over your cardboard bag structure. So now you can just slide that over if you want to make sure it fits. Next, there's also that top flap of the bag that we have not yet covered in fabric. So I'm going to take two of these, sew around the edges, right sides together, flip it inside out, and then that can pull right over the top flap of the bag. Now we have our entire bag covered except that connecting seam on the back where the top flap meets the back of the bag. However, if you want to add a lining inside, then just do the same process all over again of making the bag until you have a replica bag that can go on the inside. So you're going to want to flip that so that the wrong side is facing out because you're going to be looking on the inside. Now you have your outside of your bag done, you have the inside lining, you have the top, but you're still missing some seams. So for the top to the bag, you can use a machine to sew that. Just take everything off of your bag and sew them together. You can also sew the top to the inside lining in the same way. Just make sure you don't mix it up and sew to the wrong sides of the bag. That is very frustrating. Also, when I, for the final time, put the lining in, I like to also dump some glue in there. I'm using fabric glue for this. I just like to put a few drops down in the bottom of the bag so that the lining won't come up anytime while I'm using it. Now for the lining to the outside of the bag, you are going to have to hand sew that. I haven't figured out any other way around it, and you're going to have to sew around the 3 other edges that you are not able to get with the machine. I'm going to add a hook and eye. I'm going to add the hook on the top flap and the eye on the front of the bag so that it can close. For the duct tape covered bag, instead of using hook and eye, I used a magnet and I just taped that magnet on. To attach this bag to my leg, I used elastic. So I'm using a black elastic here and I'm measuring it around where I want the bag to go. I'm going to put that elastic through the loops in the back of the bag that we made at the very start, and then I am going to sew that elastic together. As far as putting on these bags go, for the one that I'm making for Naruto, the bag can just slide on top. For the white bandage looking thing, I'm using athletic tape and just taping that around, and that should be the final look for that cosplay. For my Riku cosplay, I had trouble with the bag falling down, so I added an extra harness that went above my waist, again using elastic on my waist. This is hidden by the shorts, and it helped so much keeping the bag on my leg so it wouldn't fall down at the convention. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. Go have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video.